Washington, storm clouds are gathering over the Korean peninsula. Defense Secretary James Mattis has told soldiers and airmen of the elite 82nd Airborne Division at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. "My fine young soldiers, the only way our diplomats can speak with authority and be believed is if you're ready to go," Mr. Mattis told several dozen soldiers and airmen during a two-day tour of U.S. bases, the military journal Stars and Stripes reported on Friday, December 22. During his visit to another U.S. base, the Guantanamo Bay Naval Station, he told the troops, "You all have to be ready to go if diplomacy fails." The U.S. could not assume that North Korean leader Kim Jong-un does not seek nuclear war, he said. The Associated Press quoted him saying, "If we have to do it, militarily, we expect to make it the worst day in North Korea's life. If war comes, every submarine he's got is to be sunk, and every ship he's got is to be sunk," said the retired general. At Fort Bragg, Mr. Mattis told the troops they should read the book This Kind of War, a study in unpreparedness published in 1963, a decade after the Korean War ended in 1953. "You know what I am driving at here," Mr. Mattis said as the soldiers listened in silence, the Stars and Stripes reported. "So you gotta be ready," he added. The book, a classic history of the Korean War, saw the conflict as a test of wills. The communists, author T.R. Fehrenbach contended, doubted that the United States had the will to react quickly and practically, and without panic. In the end, the U.S. dropped 635,000 tons of explosives on North Korea, more than the amount used in the entire Pacific Theater during World War II. Some 75% of Pyongyang was destroyed, a decisive factor which kept the communists from advancing beyond the 38th parallel. The three-year war, which ended without a peace treaty, was perhaps the bloodiest in modern history. The U.S. lost some 37,000 troops, while the total number of Koreans dead, injured or missing, was estimated at close to 3 million. The majority of the casualties were in the north. When asked about recent reports that families of American service members in South Korea might be evacuated, Mr. Mattis said, "I don't think it's at that point yet." But he added in comments carried by the Stars and Stripes that there was a contingency plan for getting U.S. service members' families out of North Korea on very short notice. The U.S. has around 28,000 military personnel and several tens of thousands of American civilians in South Korea. The U.S. Defense Chief's remarks on Friday, December 22, came on the same day the United Nations Security Council voted to impose more sanctions on North Korea in response to its latest test of an intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM. His comments also came 2 days after the Telegraph newspaper, citing unnamed sources, reported that the U.S. was evaluating a military strike on North Korea to give it a bloody nose to show that the U.S. was serious about its threat to use the military option. The latest round of sanctions target North Korea's energy, export and import sectors. Among other measures, they further lower a cap on refined petroleum supplies from 2 million barrels to a maximum of 500,000 barrels a year, compared to 4.5 million barrels imported by North Korea last year, 2016.